Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to call the meeting to order. And then before we start, I just want to remind everybody that we are being videotaped. So let's please start with the roll call by management, then we'll get a pledge of allegiance.
Andrew's coming in.
Roll call. Tim Caton.
Here.
Liz Collins.
Here.
Pauline Brodeur.
Here.
Andrew Ekstrom.
Here.
And Henry Lanier. That's the roll call, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Let's let's do the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Approval for the minutes of February 19th, 2025. Is there a motion? Is there a motion?
Will's made it.
Is there a second? Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so moved. An approval for warrant number 8.
Fairly standard month. No real earth-shattering amounts there.
Okay. Okay, is there a motion?
I had a question. I thought you were change banks, but how come we still have mechanics in there?
Because we are still working on getting the EOHLC to move their vendor web from the mechanics account to the Rockland account. If we shut the mechanics account down and you know, they haven't made the record of it, you know, the monies for state projects it'll bounce back to them, so
Okay.
we just want to make sure.
Okay. So is there a motion to approve the warrant number 8?
Motion to approve the warrant.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. So moved. Okay, we'll let the director go with the approval of the annual plan. Oh, we need that, right?
You have a copy of the annual plan and
That's right.
you got a hard copy there, and
Yeah.
if you remember, probably about 45 days or so ago, you also got an email copy of it. There's a process that has to be followed. The town of Westport got a copy of it, and they had posted it on their website. They also have a hard copy posted at the town. Board members got a copy of it, and there's been copies available here in the community room for any residents that want a copy of it. This is basically, for the lack of an explanation, it's the Bible of the housing authority. It's essentially what we have going on. It's an effort to be very transparent. In this plan, there's a copy of the budget. There's a copy of the maintenance plan. There's a copy of the preventative maintenance and deferred maintenance policies.
Yep.
And there's also a copy of the upcoming projects and the capital plan. So, each year, according to the legislation that was passed back in 2014 under the Patrick administration, in return for not regionalizing all the housing authorities throughout the state, this is something that has to be filed on an annual basis.
Okay.
And we did have a public hearing that was advertised. We had that at 9:30. There were no public comments. So if the board doesn't have any objection, I would just move for an approval. Once the board approves, it will go into EOHLC for their review and approval, and then it'll be published.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. Management agent report.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your board packet, on page 10, just a summary of what we have going on as far as vacancies are concerned. You'll notice we have 3 units that are vacant. Not a really bad place to be. We have, Unit 6B is being offered to a resident to transfer, and that resident has accepted the unit, so 6B probably next week will be off the board. But the unit that they're transferring to, the unit that they're transferring out of will be on the report next month as a vacant, so it's, basically, one for the other. 1F is ready to rent. We do have an approved applicant right now, so we're just going through the final stages of the paperwork, and then we'll get them in to schedule a lease up. And then our remaining unit, unfortunately, was left in extremely poor condition. That is in the works right now to be turned. Okay. So there are 3 vacants there. I've included, just as an FYI, I've included the maintenance report, pages 11 through 14.
Yeah.
Again, all that is a summary of all the completed work orders that Dave has been working on during the course of last month.
What page was that?
That was on pages 10 through 14, 11 through 14.
Oh, okay.
All right, and I just our entry door lock project has been done for a while now. That's project number on your agenda. It's project number 334049. The project took a little longer than they anticipated. In order for the substantial and the final completions to be acted upon, they needed to do a change order to reflect the extension of time. So there's a letter in your board packet on page 15 from the vendor there who was asking for an extension. The architect and myself, the job is done, so obviously we had no problem with the request. So I just need 2 motions. I need a motion just to approve the change order, and then I need a motion to approve substantial and final completion of the project.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved.
Okay. I appreciate that. And just on page 16, and again, I've explained this in the past, that it is kind of silly that we have to have the board vote to approve, monies coming in. But on that project, EOHLC has offered the Housing Authority a $3,400 administrative fee on that. So I'd like to, submit that so Westport Housing gets that money.
Okay.
I just need a motion and a second to approve that.
It's
So moved.
second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so voted. Okay.
Appreciate that. And I don't have any old business. I don't have any new business either, except to recognize Andrew. I just want to recognize Andrew. He has served with us for the past year. He is not seeking another term, so this will be his last board meeting. And I just want to thank him for his service over the past year and wish him well. I understand you're moving out of the town eventually.
Yes.
So I just want to thank you for your service, and we appreciate all your efforts.
I have a question going back to the maintenance and stuff.
Sure.
Do you make your best effort when this project's being done on this site, and you're trying to use local contractors or contractors from the surrounding areas?
What happens is the project goes out to bid.
Yeah.
And it's advertised on Combis and it's advertised in the newspaper. And then we offer a, walkthrough for any contractor that wants to look at the job before bidding, to decide if they want to bid or not. And then there's a bid deadline. And then when the deadline comes, we simply go, not me, but the architect or the project manager from the state goes to the website and sees, see the list of, folks that bid. If there's 5 bidders, whoever the lowest bidder is, okay, will be assumed to get the contract.
Lowest qualified.
The lowest qualified bidder. So then, what we do after that is we focus on the low bidder, and we get reference checks, and we do our due diligence before approving it. But anybody local, assuming that they're qualified.
Well, they have to go through a qualification process to bid on public projects, but there's public money involved.
That is correct.
And
Right.
so that being said, there's different levels of that. So if you had a small contractor in town, they could probably get to that level. But isn't there any rules or regulations that say if the project, if you just had to replace a window, we'll say, and it's under a certain amount, you can call someone in?
Oh, of course. We do that all the time.
And then you
Yeah,
try to use local.
yes, that's not state projects. Anything, usually anything under $10,000 is, at the discretion of the housing authority.
Okay.
It's, sound business practices is what it's called. If you have a vendor that you use pretty regularly and you're very comfortable with their service, and let's say that they're gonna charge you $5,000 to do something, and you have another vendor that's gonna charge you $4,000 that you're not familiar with. You have the leeway, if it's under $10,000, to go with who you feel comfortable with. As long as, if it's over a certain amount, though, there are certain things that you have to follow through on. You've got to go, you have to bid it, you have to follow the regulations. Certainly anything over $50,000
I
requires
think you gotta have 3 or more bidders. And
advertising and things like
you gotta
that.
have it in 2 or 3 places.
Correct. Usually it goes on Combis, which is the Massachusetts centralized,
Right.
buying list. Then you have the central register, which is maintained by the Secretary of State's office. You put it on that, and then you are required to put a copy here at the office or on the bulletin board. And then you're also required to run an ad in the local newspaper. I think that might be going away eventually because, hardly anybody reads newspapers anymore. It's a thing of the past, unfortunately. But I do too, but yeah, there's certain regulations that, when you're dealing with, taxpayer money that you're expected to follow.
Yep, okay, moving on. Nothing under old business, right?
Nope.
Anything under new business?
No, I thank Andrew for his service. That's all I had.
Any commissioners' comments? Any comments? No comments? Hearing none? Okay, excuse me?
I said no.
Oh, moving on to tenant comments. Any comments from the tenants? Go right ahead,
I
young
just
lady.
have a question about the 334049 Every Door locks, the extension. Is that just the locks or is that also the security system that goes to the doors?
Well, that's the job that's already been done. I think it's the locks themselves.
Because mine doesn't work. Mine still doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
The buzzer system.
That's the intercom.
What? The
That's
intercom.
different. That's different.
Yeah, that's a different thing. I'm working on that right now.
I'm
This
talking.
this is just the locks
Okay.
themselves. Yeah, that was the only that was what the project was.
Okay, next question.
Since you brought up that, you said the intercom, when I looked online, I read everything about that big book there on the table. Part of it said something about the intercom system. Did they just do buildings 1 and 2? That, according to what I read, it looked like they only did buildings
We're
1
doing
and 2.
two buildings at a time, 2 buildings at a time.
Yeah,
Two
that's,
buildings at a time?
yeah, that's,
Did they complete any of them?
Haven't done anything yet.
Nothing, okay.
yeah, so that'll be in the works.
All right.
Yeah,
Any other questions?
I have a comment.
sure.
As you know, I turned down the apartment in Building 6.
Yep.
On the first floor.
Yep,
I need the first floor because I hurt my back. And it's a long process. Anyway, I went to inspect it. It's done, it looks very nice. I walked across the floor and I got vertigo. And I thought it was me. My daughter was with me, she's a realtor. She said, "Mom, this floor is so slanted, I don't know how you can walk on it." That's how far it tilted to the sink. Now, I can't have a slip and fall, so I refused the apartment because evidently they're not gonna fix it. So, I'm still on the second floor, but I'm having a laundry service.
well, you're back on the list to get another, you know.
Right, that's what I wanted, because I don't wanna just be put to the wayside because I refused the apartment.
No, you're not
Because
gonna
I refused it for a reason.
be, you're not gonna be put to the wayside, no, definitely not.
That's true about the floors, I can vouch for that. When I first walked in my apartment, when I was shown the apartment, I said, gee, I feel like I'm walking downhill. And, oh, no, they kept saying, no. Well, I put a pencil and it does, the floors are slanted. I got used to it, but yeah, if you got vertigo, that could be a problem.
I'll take a look at that.
If somebody's gonna fix it for me, I got used to it, but like I said, I can vouch for the floor. And I know of another tenant, I won't mention that name, but I know of another tenant that has that problem too.
Just curious, how old is the building?
Of 1972, I think they were.
Yeah, they're quite,
They're up there.
yeah, right.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it will shift and
Yes,
things
that's
move.
what's happened.
And this
And
and
it's
that.
almost all the first floors are like that.
Yeah, I was
The
gonna say,
second
it's
floors
not
are
just
not
my
bad.
building, the
First
other
floors
person
are-
from the other building.
Because the first floor is sitting on a slab.
Yeah.
And the second floor is, you know, the I-beams and stuff, they're probably all wood, but they'll move.
I knew I wanted to make a comment about something else, and I don't know if I ever did it in any other meetings, but when you do a second floor, if you have to do floors, I read online something about, because of the creaking and all that, that if you put down cork floors before you put anything else, if you put down a cork floor, it reduces the sound. Like on the first floor.
Mhm.
Just to let you know, I saw that.
Good, yeah.
I don't know what a cork floor is, but
It's insulated.
it's
It's
insulated.
insulated.
Yeah, and it said it stops, it reduces
Okay.
the.
Any other tenant comments?
And I wasn't gonna say anything today.
Any other tenant comments? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Paul, when did they do the first floor? I'm assuming all of the first floors. When did they do that last?
When did they do what exactly?
Asbestos. Remove the asbestos and.
I don't believe they have. When we redid the unit that Mary was referring to, we did have asbestos abatement in there, but it's as we
So
go.
that was it.
But when they did the kitchens, when they did
Yeah.
the big 24 units, when Chrisanne was here.
Right,
They took the kitchen and the living room, it's a combination, they took the walls down to the studs, left the asbestos in the ceiling and in the floor.
right.
Excuse me. I've been in my apartment 22 years. They have never done anything to my apartment. I still have the original counters, cabinets, floors, everything. They haven't touched, yeah. They gave me a new kitchen, a new bathroom sink when they gave out the new ones. That's it. I still have everything.
I think they put new toilets and sinks in, didn't they?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that that there's upgrading that's needed, and that's something, now that the bond bill, was passed on the state level, we're sort of waiting for that money to kind of trickle down to the housing authority level. Once that happens, we should be able to, initiate, a fairly large, renovation project for all these things. We understand some units are very old.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All right, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.